Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, where we can take a brief break, a much needed break from talk of the coronavirus, and we can talk NFL football, Tennessee Titans football here on Titan Up Thursdays on Sports Fan Entertainment. Thank you all for joining me, and we actually have some headlines today, but they are not the headlines we thought they were going to be last week, because originally the franchise tag deadline was scheduled for today. It was going to be, I want to say, noon Eastern today, and it was pushed back not because of the coronavirus, but actually because of the CBA, the pending CBA with the NFL, which is causing issues in and of itself. What fantastic times we are living in. So we're not talking franchise tag today. We're not talking if Tannehill got franchised or Derrick Henry got franchised. We're talking cuts. Because as John Robertson sat in his office today, he was like, you know what? I feel like cutting some people. And the reason he came to this conclusion is because I believe he's coming closer to hard figures on not only Derrick Henry, but also Ryan Tannehill. I think we are seeing an increased likelihood now that not one, but both of them might be extended to long-term extensions here in Tennessee. Now, I'm still betting on a Tannehill extension and a Derrick Henry franchise tag. If you're asking me today, that is my bet. But there is growing belief, and I'm feeling it in my heart a little bit, that there might be a chance, a real chance, that we actually extend both of them to long-term extensions. So that's something I'm looking out for. But let's start with the headlines, and let us start with the title of the video, and that is Dion Lewis and Cameron Wake being released from the Tennessee Titans. And I came on here now, I want to say 4 weeks ago, but definitely several weeks ago, and I gave you my predictions of who would be cut on this football team. And I told you that I'm very good at this, that I know what I'm doing when I start talking about the cap, looking at the cap, examining the cap, and who might be released. And I told you 4 men who might be released, and I told you actually will be released. I told you Dion Lewis, Cameron Wake. I also told you Delanie Walker and Daquan Jones, and that Ryan Suckup would not be released. Now, this could be it. It could just be Dion Lewis and Cameron Wake. We could see more upcoming. We are going to see, but we do know that 2 of my 4 predictions are correct. Now, Dion Lewis and Cameron Wake have been released from the Tennessee Titans. And let's start with Dion Lewis, or as I like to call him multiple times throughout this season and even parts of last season, Dion McCluster. Because he looked a lot like Dexter McCluster in a Tennessee Titans uniform, a guy that might have been a nice player for a different team. Dexter McCluster for the Kansas City Chiefs, and Dion Lewis for the New England Patriots. But as soon as they came here, nothing more than a little third down receiving back, not even that shifty, able to do some things every now and then, but every time they're on the field, you know that they're going to get the ball thrown at them or they're going to be pass protecting. Virtually no threats to actually run the football well, to get a handoff, to get significant yardage, to be game planned against in the run game. Absolutely not. Dion Lewis was irrelevant in the run game in his time in Tennessee. Actually worse in 2018 than 2019 if you actually look at the yards per carry. But this year was just so irrelevant, just so nothing. You knew every time he was out there he was going to receive a ball, and he wasn't going to be that good at that. Averaging only like 6.6, 6.7 yards per catch. And he would catch it, pretty consistently. Had a couple drops for sure. But get him out of here, right? And especially looking at what Kenyon Drake was able to do for the Arizona Cardinals and some other receiving options in this league. Looking at some of the draft running backs that are coming out, there are much better options than the $5 million price tag and the $4 million cap saving that was attributed to Dion Lewis, cutting him save $4 million. And when the cap is as tight as it's going to be for the Tennessee Titans, we're talking about these huge extensions potentially to Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry, or even at the very least, even if you don't extend both of them, having to probably get a veteran quarterback and dedicate money at that position You cannot afford to pay $4 million to Dion Lewis for nothing. When if you replace him, you're probably going to get better production. To be quite honest with you, you're probably not only going to get better production, but you get cheaper production as well. And that is what I expect the Tennessee Titans ultimately to do. I discussed this a little bit last week, but I expect them to not even go after a free agent veteran running back. I want to say David Llewellyn is under contract, but correct me if I'm wrong. But whether he is or he isn't, I expect them to draft a running back, or at least you get an assortment of undrafted running backs and see what happens. I don't think they're going to go out and spend money on a Kenyon Drake, although I'd love to see it. I don't think they're really going to do that, paying Derrick Henry, and I think they're at least going to franchise him. I don't think you go out and add another $2, $3, $4 million on a running back. You can get a little fourth-round running back for $1-2 million that upcoming season. He has a lot of potential attributed to him. And he could end up being the next Bishop Sankey, don't get me wrong. But I feel like that's the move instead of, going forward and picking up a little $4 million running back in free agency. Or maybe you get like a Chris Thompson or Bilal Powell. Bilal Powell's not really a receiving back. But, just a very, very cheap option. Nothing but upside. And that's something I would actually be down for. And I'm still looking out for it because even David Llewellyn, I know people like David Llewellyn. Who is David Llewellyn? Like, dude, this guy could fall off the map and who would know? I mean, sorry. That's just the truth. So, with that said, then we look at Cameron Wake. I guess we're sadder to see Cameron Wake go, but we never really saw much of him in a Tennessee Titans uniform. How many games did Cameron Wake even officially play? Let me look that up. But yeah, I know he had 2.5 sacks this season. Definitely started very strong in that first game against the Cleveland Browns and then getting injured after that. But look, he was still a nice presence to have in the locker room, a true veteran in this league. We did know when we signed him to that 3-year, I want to say $21 million contract that you may only get him for 1 or 2 years. But luckily, John Robinson didn't have much guaranteed money attributed to this contract. Had a large signing bonus attributed to this contract to where you could cut him after 1 year and only lose $1 million. And we lost $1 million. You were losing $1 million in dead money this year, and I don't think there's any dead money for next year, but still, $1 million in dead money this year. If I'm Amy Adams Strunk, I don't love that, but I'm not going to miss it that much. I'm sure Amy Adams Strunk is acquiring about $1 million. And with that said, please, Amy Adams Strunk gave me $1 million. So Cameron Wake, by the way, played 9 games. I mean, who knew? Oh, my God. I thought it was like 6 max. I didn't know he played 9 games. Jesus. So, I mean, that's how irrelevant Cameron Wake ended up being. A great burst onto the scene. And look, he did actually have a decent amount of pressures. I remember that, actually. If you looked at him comparatively to other pass rushers on the team, he actually had a decent amount of pass rushes when he was out there. Just wasn't out there enough and getting up there and older in age. 37 years old last season, 38 for this upcoming season. Can't quite stick with that. See you later, Cameron Wake, if you're talking about saving $6 million. So now just under $10 million, over 9.5, anywhere from I want to say 9.7 actually, million dollars saved with these 2 cuts. A lot of money. That's a lot of money. That adds up to almost the per year average for Derrick Henry, because I think Derrick Henry is ultimately going to get 12 or 13, so that gets you closer. If you cut Delanie Walker, that gets you there. If you cut Daquan Jones, that gets you there. So let's talk about Delanie Walker. Let's talk about Daquan Jones a little bit. So Delanie Walker, shortly after the releases of Dion Lewis and Cameron Wake, went on Twitter. And he posted his stats from 2013 to 2017. Conveniently leaving out 2018 and 19. And he said, and I don't have the exact tweet in front of me. I probably should have loaded it before this video. Let me load up my phone right now. But he says something along the lines of, oh, everyone wants to hate, but don't forget that I had these stats when everyone knew that I was getting the football. Now, look, Delanie Walker has been fantastic for this football team, especially in that early era. Oh my God, he was catching passes consistently from Jake Locker. Jake Locker. Anyone catching a pass consistently from Jake Locker is incredible. I mean, how Delanie Walker and Nate Washington were able to consistently catch passes from Jake Locker is a mystery to me. I mean, if anyone can explain that to me, I'd love to hear. I mean, how anyone can catch a pass from Jake Locker is incredible. So the fact that they were doing, I mean, Nate Washington had to go over the back of a guy in order to do it once. I mean, let's not forget about that. So, yeah, and I have the quote now. This is what Delanie Walker said. If he hasn't blocked me yet on Twitter, I wouldn't be surprised. No, he hasn't yet, although I'm sure it's coming. He said, I love the hate. First of all, he posted his stats from 2014 actually through 2017. And then he said, I love the hate. Just remember, I put up them numbers whenever, and this is not me fumbling the tweet. He fumbled the tweet himself. I'm reading it exactly as it says. It says, whenever one knew I was getting the ball, don't get it twisted. I'm sure he means when everyone knew I was getting the ball, don't get it twisted. Okay, you're done. Like, and that's not me being disrespectful. You know, it really is. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not trying to be rude. Look, Delanie Walker, it just everyone's time has come. And look, I still think he has a little left in the tank, actually. Don't get me wrong. I think he can go out next year. I think he can give you 300-400 receiving yards. Oh, I think he can give you 300-400 receiving yards, 500 if you just want to force feed him. But the problem is, my friend, when you're 35 years old, and 2 years ago, okay, in 2018, you broke that ankle. Ooh. You missed 15 games. You come the next season. Okay, now you're 34 years old. You broke ankle at 33, now you're 34. You're 34 years old. Actually 35. His birthday, I'm looking at it right now, is August 12th. So you're 35 years old now. You broke your ankle at 34. You're 35 years old now. You're doing all right. You're going through training camp, preseason. You're doing all right. Then your ankle flares up. That same ankle. And now you're asking the Tennessee Titans, this franchise, to pay you, I think it's $7 million a year, or to cut you to save $6? Oh, we saving $6. Unless if you want to restructure. And I believe, and this is conjecture, that conversation was had today. I think literally today. I'm not sure if the conversation started today, but I'm sure it continued today, or at the very least, Delanie Walker looked at the release of Dion Lewis and Cameron Wake, and he was like, oh snap, they really might cut me if I don't restructure. But I'm sure that conversation has happened. I'm sure it has happened. And for the number potentially saving $6 million, I mean, you just can't afford that. Now, if you want to restructure for 3, hey, I'm down for it. I'm into it. Let's have a comeback year, Delanie Walker. But don't come and tweet out your stats from 3 years ago. Right? He didn't tweet his 2018 stats. He didn't tweet his 2019 stats. He tweeted his stats from 3 years ago. 3 years ago in this league, Peyton Manning had just retired. Patrick Mahomes wasn't even in the league. He had just started the league, actually. Yeah, he was, 2017? He had just started. He wasn't even starting yet, okay? We didn't even know the beast Patrick Mahomes would be yet 3 years ago. Alex Smith was starting for the Chiefs. Now he's benched for the Redskins. 3 years ago, Marcus Mariota was the prodigal child. 3 years is a long time in this league, man. Don't start tweeting your stats from 2017 asking me to give a damn. Because I'm not. That's just not happening here. Everyone's time has come. Your time to be a backup tight end is now. And I think, hey, if he wants to go sign with New England, if they bring back Brady, or really wherever Brady goes, honestly, or if he wants to go to New Orleans, or if he wants to go wherever Phillip Rivers goes, I think he can give you a 3, 4, maybe even 500 receiving yard season. You cannot keep him if you can save $6 million by cutting him. That's just something you can't do. So now I'm sure I'm going to be blocked by Delanie Walker. By the way, Dion Lewis blocked me last week, so I'm just in everyone's shit list these days. So, with that said, we then have Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, and I kind of discussed this earlier, so I don't really need to harp on this. But yeah, apparently they're getting closer to contract extensions. Apparently, both of them, there's a chance that they could both be re-signed. We have to wait and see on that. but I'm very closely monitoring those situations. And someone in the chat just said that Delanie Walker just tweeted about me. I highly doubt that. Let me check. I highly doubt that. No, he did not. Okay, someone in the chat's tripping. No, if you can, I don't know what you're talking about because I just put up his Twitter and he didn't. That'd be interesting though. That'd be very interesting. That no, he's watching. So with that said, those are all the headlines. And what we were going to do today is we were going to give defensive free agent targets and predictions. And sorry to wrap around back to it, but that coronavirus, yeah, I don't think free agency is happening next week. And I could be wrong on that. But I figured if this free agency is going to be suspended, I'm going to need something to talk about. And I'm going to have to delay that topic. And it really wasn't that big of a deal anyway. It would have been nice. It would have been cute. There's not many defensive free agent targets that we'll have, especially without knowing the Tannehill and Henry situation, which I thought we were going to know by at least one of them today. That we don't know either. And if I end up having all the free time that I think I might have tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but this upcoming weeks, if we get locked down here in the United States, hey, I might have all time to make all kinds of conjecture videos on Titans free agency, this, and that. So, we'll see. But for right now, there just really wasn't a need for defensive free agents and targets video. So real quick, we'll go to the chat. We're just going to go to the chat, answer some questions. Do not ask me draft questions. I'm catching up on the draft. Don't ask me who we should take in the draft, this about the draft, that about the draft. NFL players, free agents, Titans players, that's it. I don't know nothing about the draft. My film analysis starts tonight. As there's no NBA, there's no March Madness, there's nothing. I ain't got nothing to do but watch film. So I'm going to watch film like I'm Ron Jaworski for the next N days. Maybe N months at this point. It's getting ridiculous out here. Oh my goodness, on planet Earth. So at me in the chat, at Sportsfan Entertainment, and I will answer some questions. And we already have a question from Jonathan Donahue, who says, at Sportsfan Entertainment, what do you think about keeping Woodyard? And let me check Wesley Woodyard's contract, because it's all about the potential savings, right? If he's not under contract for too much money and you don't save too much by cutting him, then wait until training camp. Let him go into training camp. Let him try to earn a spot. You really only cut players at this point in the offseason if you just know it doesn't matter what they do in training camp. They just were worth too much money. Just get rid of them. But if it's only $1-2 million, let him go to camp. And by the way, that's why I don't think we're going to cut Ryan Succop, because you saved $2 million cutting Ryan Succop. But you have to see what Succop looks like in camp. If Ryan Succop looks like 2 years ago, not 3 years ago, Delanie, like 2 years ago, then fine. Okay, we're cool on Ryan Succop, and he's worth the money. And you don't want to, we did it. You don't want to go out into that free agent kicker game and whatever without a viable option. Let Succop compete. You can go to camp and you'll still save the $2 million. You might have a little bit shaved off of that because I don't know if there's a roster bonus in his contract and whatnot. But you'll probably still save $1.5 million if you just let him go to camp, let him compete. If he stinks, you cut him, you still save the $1.5 million, which isn't that much. If you're really $2 million away from the cap or whatever, okay, you got bigger problems before we get to Ryan Succop, but I don't envision that being the scenario. So I don't think Ryan Succop's going to get cut. I think $2 million in savings is not enough. You bring him to camp. If he sucks in camp, you cut him. You still save $1.5 million, which isn't really even that important. But hey, now you can get another little player here or there. Who do you want to pick up? Or the next Andre Johnson wannabe. I don't know. So anyway, Wesley Woodyard, I have his contract here. So he's an upcoming free agent. So I guess you're asking, should we resign him? And, sure, if he wants to be. But honestly, I'd rather just move on. He had actually a decent game late in the year. Maybe he was even in the playoffs. But I'd rather just move on. I feel like at this point we have some inside linebacker talent like David Long Jr., which I'd rather see more of. And maybe you could even get another new inside linebacker in here. We have Jayon Brown. We have Rashaan Evans. We have David Long Jr. And then did we even get another inside linebacker last year? Or is it David Long the last one? We had Delanie Walker, but he didn't play. And then, yeah, I think that's it. So I feel like the linebacker room's a little bit crowded. But look, if he wants to sign for veterans minimum, okay, fine. If he signs for veteran minimum, then bring him back and let him compete in camp. But he's going to have to compete. He has no roster spot that's guaranteed to him. All right, the Durka Times says, as sports for entertainment, Vrabel is going to pull Clowney, right? Well, again, we need to see our upcoming cap situation. Now we have roughly $60 million in cap room. This would allow for us to even re-sign a Tannehill, re-sign a Derrick Henry, and would you have enough? You would have enough money. Now, you wouldn't have much money to get Clowney. You would have enough if you don't care about having $10 million in cap. I know we do. So then if you want to cut Daquan Jones for 7 and Delanie for 6, absolutely. And I think the conversations between Jadeveon Clowney and the Tennessee Titans will happen. I believe Mike Vrabel is comfortable with Jadeveon Clowney, that he has faith in Jadeveon Clowney, that those conversations are maybe even being had under the table, I should say. But I just don't think we're going to outbid other teams for him. Although I would love to see it, I just don't foresee that right now, especially just the cap being as tight as it is, and he's going to ask for $18 million more a year. We had another question for Jonathan Donnie who says, cannot wait for the Corey Davis comeback since I recently learned he was dealing with turf toe last year for a good portion. And again, I still have faith in Corey Davis. I know a lot of people don't. Look, I still believe wholeheartedly that we should have took Jamal Adams in that 2017 draft over him. Look, I know we needed a wide receiver at the time. Who was our strong safety at the time? I was actually thinking about this. Who was our strong safety in 2017? Because it was not Kenny Vaccaro. Was it Denor Searcy? Well, who was can someone tell me in the chat? I can look it up right now, but if someone could tell me in the chat quicker. Who was our strong safety in 2016 heading into 2017? Cyprien, thank you. So y'all realize we passed on Jamal Adams because we had Jonathan Cyprien. How dumb is that? Like, that is so... we had signed him to a contract, okay? It was a decent contract that we had signed him to. So I understand that. But just think about that. When we go into this upcoming draft, and we're going to talk about the draft when the draft comes, because I think the draft is at least going to happen. Now, they may do it over Skype, but I think the draft is going to happen. When we start talking about these wide receivers... and everyone talks about we shouldn't take a wide receiver. We're good on wide receiver. I'm like, wait a damn minute. Because as soon as Corey Davis leaves the room, we're not good on wide receiver. And it looks like he's going to leave the damn room. So I don't want to have that conversation. People already have the conversation. Oh, why are we... Don't talk about wide receivers. I know there are great wide receivers in this class. Don't talk about them. No, we need to talk about them. We need. The last time we didn't talk about a great position because we thought it had a field, oh, next year that position was not filled and we wish we had that dude. We should have picked Jamal Adams. We need to have a conversation of the talented wide receivers available at 29 we need to take. We need to take it. I don't care that if we have a pass rusher as a big need. No, you're going to pass on a Hall of Fame potential talent. If you do that policy again, you take the best damn player available. Unless if you know that position is filled. And we didn't know that in 2017. So anyway, Corey Davis, I'm still a fan of. I think we're headed for trouble. I think we're headed for a split. It would shock me if they got into trade negotiations for him. But I hope you're right. And I hope the turf toe, I don't think it really impacted him that much. He still had the speed to me. I just don't think that Ryan Tannehill was really throwing him. But if Corey Davis is out there running around next year, I have hope that he has a comeback. But really, I think we're headed for a divorce here, a split here. And I think he's going to be a name on the list of growing Tennessee Titans who are going to leave this team and actually have success, which I'm not actually going to entirely trash John Robinson for. It's actually a good sign. We've had no Tennessee Titans leave this team and do well except for Jared Cook, and even Jared Cook has been inconsistent. This is now a good sign that we have so many good players that some of them are leaving and some of them are going to do well. Mariota's going to go do well. Logan Ryan, if he leaves, is going to go do well. Conklin's going to go do well. Corey Davis next year is going to go do well. It's going to suck. But, that's just something that's going to happen as you have talent and people start getting re-signed. So that does show us that our roster's heading in the right direction, but some of these divorces are not going to happen, right? We didn't miss Doyle Green Beckham. We didn't miss Kendall Wright. We didn't miss Justin Hunter. We didn't miss, insert name here. We're going to start to miss some guys And Corey Davis, I think, is going to be one of them. It sucks. Oh, it sucks. All right. Countryman says, as sports fan entertainment, what defensive player in free agency do you think we'll get? Again, that was going to be the topic of this video, at least for the second half of this video. I don't know. Now, ask me when I make that video in like 1 or 2 weeks. King Isaac says, as sports fan entertainment, if we go 9-7 again, I'm jumping out of the window. Well, look, if it's 9-7 and we get to the AFC Championship or we get to the Super Bowl and we win it, whatever. I don't care about the regular season record that much, although I do agree it's getting a little annoying. Zeke Gonzalez and Saudi says, at Sports Fan Entertainment, would you like the Titans signing Vic Beasley to play opposite of Harold Landry? And yeah, I would kind of be into that idea. You know, Vic Beasley's a guy who's been inconsistent, and I don't want to overpay for him. I really do not want to overpay for Vic Beasley. I would not pay more than, honestly, $7.5 million, $8 million a year, because he hasn't shown that sort of consistency. But I would be into it. I would not sign him just based on his potential and just hope $10+ million a year that he's going to reach his potential. That's just asking for trouble, because even if you look at our scheme and with Harold Landry playing what he plays in our scheme, the fit isn't fantastic there. We could actually use more of a Jadeveon Clowney type, which is why I'm so interested in Jadeveon Clowney. But I think Beasley has enough potential to where I would be interested in it. So with that said, that is going to do it for Titan Up Thursdays here on March 12th, 2020. Hopefully, free agency does not get postponed. I expect it to get postponed. Hopefully, this is not the case, because we need something to do next week. We need something to track other than this damn coronavirus. But unfortunately, I think that's where we're headed. But maybe we might get a contract extension or two, and because I'm going to be working from home now, if the news breaks and I have some time, I might just go live when the news breaks and just give my thoughts on that instead of having to wait for Thursday. So stay tuned and look out for that. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.